Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin, and today we're going to be doing the new makeup releases for May of 2023. I'm very excited about this video, and I'm very excited about all the new releases that have come out this month. Of course, I am on a low buy / controlled buy, and to help kind of define what that is, of course, I'll link my buys and buys up in the cards and down below so that you guys can see how I am managing my beauty budget this year. But otherwise, I have my Instagram pulled up. I am going to be reading off of Trend Mood One's Instagram page. I always have her link down below. And so let's go ahead and get into the new releases. I'm running a little bit short on time today, so I am going to not touch on everything, but really just touch on things that kind of grabbed my attention. So let me go ahead and I'm going to shift my camera angle a little bit to give me a little bit more room over here, and I'll go ahead and post up some pictures of what I'm talking about. So the first thing that was posted after I finished filming my last month's new makeup was I'm guessing this is kind of like a bronzer, but it's by Guerlain. And I know they've done these like terracotta bronzers before in the past, and perhaps this is their new like limited edition one for summer, but this is the Sun-Kissed Natural Healthy Glow Powder in Terracotta Flower Blossom. Long names, but basically it's one of their bronzers, but it has this beautiful like floral imprint with the different colors, and it has a bumblebee in it, and this is gorgeous. This is absolutely beautiful, and I'm guessing it doesn't have a price, and it says it's in Europe right now, so I don't know if it's going to be coming to the US market. But Guerlain is a higher end brand, so I'm guessing $40 to $50 for this. This would be a splurge item if if I had extra money in my beauty budget and I wanted to get something splurgy, then I would love to have this beautiful bronzer in my collection. I think we went over this last time, but the Colourpop Lavender Haze collection came out. There's been tons of videos about it. I'm not a big fan of the palette. It looks very cool tone and very ashy, but the Super Shock shadows are gorgeous looking, and I have a few Super Shocks in my collection right now that are drying out, so if I did want to bring something new into my collection from Colourpop, I would consider some of the Super Shocks from this collection, but the rest of it I have no need for. Charlotte Tilbury did come out with a new lipstick, and this is in the Matte Revolution formula, and this is the shade Coronation. So this correlated with the coronation of King Charles over in England. And I know that she attended the coronation. I saw a bunch of pictures of people that were all dressed up for the event, and so she did release this red shade. I don't wear red lipstick, so this is going to be an easy pass for me, but I've not tried the Charlotte Tilbury formula for lipstick, so if anybody has a recommendation, leave them down below. I would want to get maybe a mini and a sampler set to try the formula before I went ahead and purchased a full size, but I do like that the cases are refillable. Sol de Janeiro came out with 3 new scents for their body sprays. With these, I had mentioned in previous videos that I had really bad asthma as a child. Like, I was hospitalized many times as a child for it. But as an adult, I've kind of grown out of it, so I'm able to wear fragrance and perfume now. But there are still some scents, particularly some floral scents, that do trigger my allergies and my asthma. So I would need to be able to smell these in store. But so far, all the other Sol de Janeiro scents I have really enjoyed. I love getting like the body butter in little kits whenever I can at Sephora, but it'd be interesting to get a body spray. I'm more likely to just use my perfumes rather than a body spray, but this would be something nice to kind of just spray on myself as I'm around the house. Like, today is a cleaning day for me, so while I have a bunch of laundry in the wash, I'm filming this video, so it'd be nice to have like just a nice tropical scent to spray on me on my in-home days. Huda Beauty has come out with some liquid like lip and cheek stains. I don't know how I feel about like a multi-purpose item like that. Even though I do use my lip products on my cheeks, I just don't know about the way that I do my makeup using a cheek stain. Because I do put a full face of makeup on, putting a cheek stain on top, I feel like would just move the product around or make it look patchy. And so I'm just not drawn to these. If it was just a liquid blush that had a little bit more base pigment to it, then that might be different, but these do have more of a translucent or sheer base because they are meant for the lips as well. The packaging is beautiful. Some of the colors look a little bit the same, but this is something that I can easily skip over. Laneige is coming out with a new flavor for their lip sleeping mask, and this is in the Cherry Blossom flavor slash shade. And I think about cherry blossoms and I'm trying to figure out what that would taste like on your lips. So I'm not a big fan of floral notes that like I'm going to be tasting. So I think for this one, I can easily pass this one up. But further down the line, I know they are coming out with a different shade slash flavor, and that one I am very interested in. So I'll talk about that one when we get there. Tarte has more maracuja juicy lip products. They're coming out with them left and right. These ones I think are just new shades of the original, and then they're coming out with ones that are like pH balanced, color changing. I think they're just riding the wave. I have not tried any of the juicy lip products, and really I don't feel a need to buy these. Glamlight did do a round 2 of their Scooby-Doo collection, and so this has lip products, a lip scrub, a dual blush, and then a larger palette. The blush shades I just don't feel are for me. I don't really need lip products, especially in kits, and then the palette just looks too big. There's a lot of wasted space between the shades, and I understand they have the characters printed on the background, but overall I just think it's kind of a waste of space, and the color story doesn't really jump out to me. There's a lot of blues in there, so this is something that I can easily pass on. I do want to try Glamlight's formula, but so far a lot of their collabs I've just not been interested in. Even as buying them as merch, I'm not interested in them. And so I'm kind of just waiting for them to come out with something that kind of catches my attention. L'Oreal has a couple new products that they're coming out with, and so we have their blushes. This is in the Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear line. They had their powder foundation, then they did the bronzers, now they have blushes. So the powder foundation, I know a lot of people loved. The bronzers, a lot of people loved. Blushes, so far they come in 4 shades. 2 of them are very dark, which bless them for actually having something that can be on a range of skin tones. But these colors just aren't jumping out at me. And I kind of think of this Infallible 24-Hour Wear as something that's going to be extremely pigmented. So I just think in my mind that like you dip your brush in there, you go to put it on your cheek and it just sticks. So maybe it's my own kind of headspace about these that's kind of getting in the way, but also I'm a little bit of a snob for high-end blushes. I know that about myself. I've come to terms with it, and that's why I don't bring a lot of blushes in, because I kind of have a curated collection of what works for me. So these ones I can easily skip over, but I really do hope that they are the same formula that everybody is loving in their other powder products in the Infallible line. And then the other item that they're coming out with, L'Oreal, is doing a liquid lipstick. And bless it, can we just not go back to like 2016, 2017 when liquid lipsticks were the thing? Can we not do it? It's so uncomfortable. And after wearing masks for like 2.5, 3 years, like I think that people are okay with reapplying lip products. And so I don't know if it's TikTok that's bringing these trends back, but I'm okay with leaving it in the past. So I'm going to skip over all liquid lipsticks, and that also includes, they came out with new shades. Maybelline came out with new shades. I'm scrolling, I'm trying to find it. Maybelline came out with new shades of their Superstay liquid lipstick, like matte inks. I had these, like I said, back in 2016, 2017, and they were so dry, so sticky, but they did stay. So, I mean, they did what they're supposed to do, but just the formula was not comfortable. So overall, they came out with some beautiful new, like fresh, bright colors for spring and summer. And so that's exciting. But again, this is something that I can skip over. I'm just going to be skipping over every single liquid lipstick that comes out. Fresh did come out with 3 new shades of their sugar lip treatment. I've only tried these in the mini. I've never tried a full size of this, but they are coming out with like 2 neutral shades and then like a bright pink. With these, I think that you can get something equivalent at the drugstore. I don't think you need to pay the Sephora like fresh prices for a like a lip balm. Plus, I keep my lip balms in my pockets. These melt so easily. So if you are like a car lip balm person or a pocket, or if you leave your purse in the car, these will melt. And so again, bless them for coming out with new shades, and they look really fun for summer, but overall I can definitely skip over this. I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but the like Fenty summer collection where it's coming out with one of the match sticks and a few of the lip stains, and the packaging is beautiful. I love the packaging. It is just everything summer should be. Like I just think of sitting on a tropical island watching the sunset. Like these are the sunset colors that I think of when you're on just a tropical island with nothing but water around you. But we finally saw swatches of the matchstick, and so it's one of those pH changing products that is so hyped right now. Now, if this stayed this kind of like bright corally, like shimmery, like if it had the base pigment to it and it stayed this shade, I would be all over it. This would be gorgeous. But it changes to that like hot pink, and it kind of has that translucent base to it where it just has the pH kind of like pigment to it. No, I'm good. I don't need something that is basically going to turn my cheeks just bright pink. And again, I feel the formula of this is going to be more for people that are not wearing a whole lot of base makeup, and so I can skip over that, and I'm just not interested in lip stains, even though again the colors look beautiful for summer. Lawless has a new collection. Again, everybody's releasing their summer collections right now, but Lawless did a watermelon collection, and it is gorgeous. So they did their 3 lineup of lip products. So the Forget the Filler gloss, the lip mask, and then also the Forget the Filler like balm stick. And so they did all of those in a watermelon shade, and then they did a powder blush. So I still want to get one of the Forget the Fillers, and so this watermelon one has kind of crept up to the top of my list for what I would like to try as far as colors. And I think if that blush was a cream blush, I would be more likely to want to pick it up. But it is a powder blush. Yes, it is powder. It looks like it has a little bit of a sheen to it, maybe a little bit of a satin. But if this was a cream in this bright watermelon color, I would be all over it. Otherwise, I am kind of looking at the Forget the Filler gloss in this watermelon shade, and that is definitely on my radar. Cleona Cosmetics has released a new palette, so this is the Deep Sea Treasures palette. They were sneak peeking this like without the colors, and so we finally got to see what the inside of the palette looks like. And the outside packaging is beautiful. It kind of looks like a treasure map, like that old-timey drawing. But the inside, and this is for me, the inside is underwhelming. And I just feel like the colors on the inside are just kind of like muted down. They don't have this vibrancy. And let me look at swatches actually. No, they don't have any swatches. Okay. I do want to try some shadows from Cleona. I think I get a little bit overwhelmed with just single shadow brands because, and especially since I think the majority of their shadows are shimmers, I get overwhelmed with trying to put together a cohesive color look. And I'm not necessarily the person that likes to have a bunch of singles that don't make up a palette. And so I just, with these, like if they had little quads of shimmers that kind of went together, that if you put down a neutral base, you could kind of fill in with the shimmers, I would be happy to buy that. But I don't necessarily want to buy just a stained glass collection or just this collection or just this collection. I would love if they kind of had like curated little bundles, and maybe they do. I need to do some more research on their website, but so far every single time I've logged on to Cleona, I've kind of been overwhelmed with the selection as far as what I would want to bring into my collection. So I mean, it's great that they're putting together palettes. It's just nothing has necessarily like jumped out and said, yes, I absolutely need that in my collection. So I will be passing on the Deep Sea Treasures palette. Bare Minerals does have 2 more shades of their bronzers. They came out with these a couple summers ago as limited edition, and so they added 2 more shades because they brought back the range permanently. So now they have 5 shades in the range, and they brought out a mauve shade and a bronzy shade. If I want a bronzy cheek, I'll just use bronzer. But this mauve one is beautiful. Now, I don't necessarily need it. I feel like the effect that you get would be the same as like Hourglass Mood Exposure, and I have a full size of that. So while I can appreciate that these colors are beautiful, it's not anything that I need to bring into my collection. So really, you know, when you see these new things come up, just think about, do I have other mauve tones in my collection? And I can say with certainty that yes, I probably have 4 mauve tone blushes in my collection, so I don't need to add another one. So Lunar Beauty has come out with some lip products. This is Manny MUA's brand, and I have been interested in it. I've been kind of seeing what has been coming out, and I see a lot of Lunar Beauty products in people's like collection videos and shop my stashes, and so it's made me very curious because obviously people love the brand and he comes out with wonderful products, but lip products is not necessarily something that I need right now in my collection. Now there is you know, neutrals, and then there's 2 reds and then 2 mauves, and so like there's a good shade range, and the packaging is gorgeous. You like press the little button with the logo on it and the lipstick comes out, and then the lipstick bullet itself has this embossing on it. Absolutely gorgeous. But again, not something that I necessarily need to bring into my collection, but I do need to go around on his website and see what else is on there. I'm not a big fan of big palettes, and I'm not a big fan of like blush palettes and bronzer palettes and like these big chunky things that have like a million shades that I'm not going to use. So I would want to see what he has on his website that are just singles. Like, do you have a single blush or a single bronzer or a single highlighter that I would be interested in? So if you have a favorite thing from Lunar Beauty that comes in just a single pot of whatever it is, let me know down below so I can know what to kind of look for. So Gucci is coming out with 3 new blush shades, and Trend Mood put together kind of like a little reel thing, and it's kind of like the year of blush, and she kind of like posted up all of the different blush releases that we've had, and this really is the year of blush, and I'm not complaining because I absolutely love blush. But these 3 new shades, we have like a watermelon, a orangey shade, and then another baby pink. I thought they already had a baby pink, but this might be a new shade, but that watermelon shade is drawing me in. And I don't know what the difference is between me wanting the watermelon powder blush from Gucci, but not the watermelon powder blush from Lawless. Just in my head. I think this is another product that if I had extra money in my beauty budget that I would consider picking one of these up. I do have the Too Faced blushes in my loves list, and I think I do have the watermelon shade of that one saved as well. So there might be a watermelon shaded blush coming into my collection. If I can get my my beauty budget straight to kind of add one of these more higher end blushes to my collection. But overall, love the packaging, love the colors. It'd be interesting. You know, again, it's Gucci, but also I have to say that they hit it on the head with the packaging. Charlotte Tilbury has a collection coming out, so it looks like she is re-releasing a face palette from the past. I've seen some people get really, really excited about her releasing this again because they didn't have a chance to pick it up when she released it the first time. And then it looks like there's some lip products, and then she also is coming out with a new shade in her like blush wands. I still don't feel like for my taste of makeup that the blush wands would work for me, but I am interested to see how other people are loving these products, and just again, the year of blush. So if you are looking, I think it's a little bit of a deeper pink shade. So if you've been looking for one of her blush wands to come in like a little deeper, so maybe if you have like a tan complexion, then this might be a really exciting release for you, but is definitely something that I can skip over. Nars is coming out with under eye correctors, and so this has the same packaging as the Nars Soft Matte Concealer in the pot. And so it looks like there's 5 shades right now. I'm going to have to look at this in store. Of course, I have my Bobbi Brown correctors that I'll be using up, and I probably won't need a new corrector until the beginning of next year. But the lightest shade, which would probably work for my complexion, it looks a little bit yellow. And so the only one that looks pink leaning is the middle shade, which would be probably for more of a medium skin tone. So I'm interested to see these in store to see if they actually are as yellow as they look here. They don't look like correctors to me, but also I'm not a makeup artist. I don't know color theory, so these might be spot on. But overall, I do like the Bobbi Brown ones because there is a range of, do you want pink tone, do you want yellow tone, do you want neutral tone? And so I like that ability to pick out something with a little bit more of a pink tone. But again, I'll check these out in the store and see what I think of them, because I really am enjoying the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. I think we talked about this last month, but they did kind of give us a little bit of swatches. So this is the Urban Decay Hydromaniac Liquid Blushes. It comes in a squeezy tube. Again, I don't think that this is the right formula for me. Looking at a lot of the models that they put the shades on, they are wearing very minimal makeup. So if they are wearing any base at all, it looks like they're just putting the blush straight on their skin. And so I don't know necessarily how this liquid formula would go over a more high coverage foundation and how that would look. A few of the shades do look beautiful, but I think overall that I can skip this one because I really don't think it's going to mesh with the way that I do my makeup. Again, with the year of the blush, Dior is coming out with some new shades of their Rosy Glow blushes. And so it looks like, I think they're coming out with a little bit more of a neutral, like tannish color, and then also more of a mauve color. And I used to really want one of the Dior blushes, and I think I've kind of pulled away from it. I'm not the biggest fan of the packaging because the outside packaging of the face of the blush does not match the color on the inside, and for some reason that bothers me. If you're going to put the color on the outside of the compact, at least make it match. I almost feel like it's kind of like they took a picture of it and then it went through a really crappy like picture editing program, and then they came out with the case of the front. So it just bothers me. It's the little things. But if I'm going to spend $40 on a blush, I don't want the packaging to bother me. So that's why, again, with the Gucci blushes, all the packaging looks the same on the outside versus with this. But again, if Dior's like, oh, well, makeup artists can have all of them and they know what shade they're getting. Like, I get it, but it bothers me a little bit. So for right now, I've kind of talked myself out of the Dior blushes, so I can pass on those. Hourglass has 2 face palettes coming out. These are the 6 pans. Back in like 2016, 2017, I really wanted one of these, but it just was not in my makeup budget. Especially because they usually release them at the end of the year, and by then my makeup budget is kind of used up throughout the year. But I'm glad I never got one because I'm not the biggest fan of their finishing powders, and I'm not the biggest fan of their strobe powders, which is kind of their highlight with a little bit of glitter in it. And so getting palettes that are full of those, I'm good. But even then, I have 3 full-size Hourglass blushes plus a palette of 4 blushes. So any blush that they're going to be putting in these palettes, I probably have something similar. So I think I can definitely pass on any of the bigger palettes. I do really wish, again, that they would allow us to customize palettes with Hourglass. They have their eyeshadows where you can click them into a palette and pick your own. I wish in some way they were able to do that with the bigger palettes, with the face palettes, even though I know that these are, baked on like a terracotta plate. and it would be hard. Like they would actually have to have somebody pick the shades out and glue them into a compact, or figure out a way for a computer to pick out the shades and put it in there and package it correctly. I do think it would be great if they were able to allow us to customize palettes. But again, these bigger ones, if you love their face powders, and this might be a really good deal for you, otherwise this is something that I can easily skip on. Odins Eye has come out with 2 new palettes, and they are doing neutrals. I think a lot of these indie brands, I kind of have not found something that works well for me. And I haven't purchased anything from Odins Eye because everything that they come out with is kind of like a rainbow palette but muted, a rainbow palette but make it cool toned, or, you know, not only that, but they usually do blue heavy. And so there's usually a corner that is all blue. And I just don't wear blue eyeshadow that much. I have earned a respect for it, but I don't wear it that often. So them coming out with something a little bit more neutral is exciting, but I just don't feel like these are going to be the release that draws me in. They did come out with a more cool tone, so that does have a lot more blues and purples in it, so I can skip over that one. But the other one that has the greens and browns in it, that is a beautiful color story. But I almost feel like it could have been pared down to a 12 pan and be just as effective. So, I mean, I can admire these, and I do think they're beautiful, and I know a lot of people love the Odins Eye formula, but this is just not the release that like grabbed me and said, this is what you need in your collection. So unfortunately, I am going to skip over these and keep waiting for that collection that comes out that just grabs me. So Pat McGrath had teased some stuff last month, so she finally came out with her collection, and this is her Divine Blush Color Bomb collection. And so it looks like there are some cream blushes in stick form. There is a duo that's a cream blush on one side and like a cream highlighter, but it almost looks like that Vaseline-y with a little bit of sparkle type of highlighter in it. And then there is a quad eyeshadow palette. I can skip over all this. Number one, the highlighter that is kind of like a Vaseline type thing, it would ruin the way that I do makeup. I think that if you powder your face down, you can't, like, don't use don't use the Vaseline stuff over if you have powdered your entire face. But I think I was watching the new releases from Angie, and she was talking about how if you took these cream blushes and changed the packaging to look like Colourpop, that's what it looks like. Unless there's something special about this packaging or it has a little bit more weight to it, it is kind of like these blush sticks look like any other blush stick out there. I know, these brands release this stuff because people will buy it. People that are hardcore Pat McGrath fans will purchase these cream blushes. But overall, if I can get a cream blush that's similar to this, from Colourpop for $7, then that's what I'm going to do. The quad is nothing special. I have those shades in my collection, so this collection from Pat McGrath, I can definitely skip over all of it. One Size did come out with some new shades in loose powder. So there is an ultra pink shade, and then there's another shade called Honey. That one's not pictured, but I'm guessing that's going to be for more medium skin tones. I know the pink powder is very, very popular right now. I've not tried anything like that. I would worry that a pink powder, I know it's supposed to be ultra brightening, but I almost feel like a pink powder would darken like your concealer. And so I'm curious how that works, is if the powder is a pink powder that is darker than what your skin is, how does it brighten if it does darken your concealer under your eyes? I'm going to have to watch some videos and kind of see what people are thinking about these pink powders, or if there is a lighter shade of pink powder out there for people with fairer complexions. But overall, I want to try some things from One Size. I know people rave about the concealer, so that is actually on my loves list. And so I'm curious. I kind of do have a Holy Grail loose powder, but if it's something like this, that it's a pink powder that is just for the under eyes, I'd be interested to see what people are thinking about this pink powder. Colourpop has a new large palette coming out. There's just a reel of it. There's no like other pictures or swatches, but this is the Smokin' Hot, palette. So it's a lot of course, bronzes and oranges and reds and stuff like that. Very, it's kind of like if you took Natasha Denona's bronze and sunset and mixed them together, you would get this color story. So this is something that I already have in my collection. I do love warm tones, but I already have these shades. Obviously, I have those two Natasha Denona palettes, plus I have some warm toned eyeshadows from other brands. And then not only that, but I'm not a big fan of the larger palettes from Colourpop. So if they released a 12 pan that they condensed this color story down, then that might catch my attention, but I'm not in the need for large palettes right now. Here is some exciting news. Marc Jacobs is coming back. And so what was it, 2019? So even before, the beauty brand knew that, COVID was going to happen, Marc Jacobs closed down, but they kind of said, hey, we're not going away forever. We'll be back. And I think somebody had said that they ran out on their contract for manufacturing or for their labs. And so they were trying to reformulate, come up with new stuff. And so, the pandemic happened, and I'm sure that was not a good time for Marc Jacobs to try to regroup and find a new lab and try new formulas. So, but now it does say that they are coming back, which is so exciting. They have one of my favorite lipstick formulas. I did finish one of my Marc Jacobs lipsticks last year. I never got to try out the Omega bronzer, and my little panning heart wants to pan one of those huge bronzers. Their mascara was really good. Their lip glosses were really good. Their eyeliners were really good. And so I am excited to see what comes out of Marc Jacobs Beauty. So I will definitely be looking out for them to start posting. And I wonder, I'll try to go on Instagram and see if they have an Instagram page up yet so that we can get updates as we go along. Makeup by Mario is coming out with some more cream blushes. And so these are the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veils. And so I think that this is more along the lines of what I would want as far as creating a veil of color. Now, they don't really have a watermelon shade in here. A lot of these tones are a little bit more muted, but overall, I think that this formula I would get along with better. And so if you have tried any of these new shades or the previous shades in the formula, let me know down below what you think of the Makeup by Mario cream blushes, because I am very interested. Clarins has a new shade of their lip oil, and this is in Fig, and the photos of this immediately caught my attention. So the beautiful berry purple color with the flowers and just everything is beautiful. But then I swiped and I saw the lip swatches, and it comes out to be a very cool toned purple. And so, I would probably still wear it, but it kind of is giving a little bit of dead lips. So, if the color stayed more warm toned, if the color stayed more berry rather than falling back to a cool tone, then I would be a little bit more interested in it. But for right now, the photos got me, but those lip swatches, I can easily pass. LYS is coming out with a mascara. I believe this is their first mascara, but it has one of those curved wands. And so usually those are for lift and for curling. And so let's see here. It's interesting, and I want to try some stuff from LYS. They're a very affordable brand at Sephora. So, they're not drugstore prices, but they are on the lower range for Sephora. And so it is interesting to see, but I scrolled and I saw the mascara on the models. And so it looks like it gives length and curl, but not a lot of volume. And really, the pictures, they give kind of that spidery look, and that's not what I'm going for. I want fluffy lashes. I want to have volume at the base and then to separate the lashes and give them a lot of fluff at the ends. So if this creates more of that lift, curl, and spidery lash, then I'll skip over it. I have oily lids, so I'm very particular about my mascaras. They usually do transfer up onto my brow bone, or they'll transfer under my eye. And so even beyond something transferring, smudging, or flaking, if it doesn't give the right look that I like for my lashes, then I'll skip over it. So it'd be interesting. I know Jen Phelps does a lot of really good reviews where she actually takes you up close and says, okay, this is without, this is with. So I'm curious if she will pick this up and she'll try it, because I'll want to see what it looks like on her up close, you know, one coat, two coats, to see if it actually does give that spidery look. So the flavor from Laneige that caught my attention. So they're also releasing it's a vitamin C infused pink lemonade. So it has lemons and raspberries, so like a raspberry lemonade. And I love raspberry lemonade. I love cherry limeades. Like, you mix a red fruit with a lemon or a lime and I'm all over it. So this looks yummy. And I know, of course, you know, you wear a lip mask to protect your lips. And again, I'm working through my gummy bear one right now. And so I'm going to need a new one in the next month or two. And so I am really, really eyeing this one to see. And I don't want to be the creepy person that like goes into Sephora to smell it, but I almost feel like I'm going to be like, do you guys have a tester that I can open and smell? But I'll have to see how I feel about that. Something with vitamin C in it. I'm not sure what vitamin C would do for my lips if I was wearing it overnight, but overall I would really just want it for the sensation of having something delicious on my lips at night. ABH has a new palette, and so this is their Cosmos palette. I saw this one and I was uninspired. And so the bottom, they have quite a bit of like darker mattes. And so I guess, you know, overall they have the basic mattes for a foundation of an eye look. And then it has, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 7 shimmers. So some of the swatches, it looks like the shimmers are toppers, like those iridescent toppers. And so I think they're trying to do what indie brands are doing, but I just don't know if they're going to hit the mark with what indie brands are doing. And so with this, I this is going to be for somebody. I mean, it might be for somebody who has more mainstream makeup, but they want to try something, dip their toe into that topper iridescent shades. But I just don't know if ABH is the one to do it when so many indie brands are doing it better. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to love this palette, but overall, it's not anything that I need to bring into my collection. I think we're talking about palettes from here on out. What is it? Nomad Cosmetics finally released their full color story for their new palette, and this is safari themed. So it does have shades that are named after animals and places throughout the African continent. And I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. They have a shade that has zebra stripes on it. They have shades that have giraffe footprints through it. And so, and I think, and one of them also has like elephant footprints through it. And so it is really, really amazing that they do these travel themed palettes. I have seen a couple swatch videos and a couple eye look videos with this. And out of all the Nomad Cosmetic palettes that they've released, this is the one that I was drawn to the most because I do love my greens. But I think that I was able to pass on this one because of what we're going to talk about next. But overall, this is a beautiful color story. I almost kind of go back to, what was their like their Royal palette, the one they released before this, that like those darker hues with those duochromes, like I'm almost drawn to that. Like I feel like I have enough of these neutrals in my collection that to bring in a palette, especially from an indie brand that I am going to be having to order off their website, possibly pay for shipping, all this jazz, I want it to have a color story that really grabs me. So while this one is beautiful, and so far this is the Nomad palette that has really like called to me the most, I am going to skip over it, but I always could come back to it. But overall, I kind of feel like this could have been a 12 pan. They could have eliminated a few of the shades and still had a really cohesive palette. I don't know what it is about me and these bigger palettes. It bugs me a little bit, but overall, I mean, it's gorgeous. I might end up picking it up. I'm trying to think how many, I know last year I did like, I allowed myself 12 palettes for the year. I don't know how many I'm in right now, maybe 4, maybe 5. I think I've gotten like a palette a month. And so I really have to think to myself over the next couple months, what are the other palettes I want to bring into my collection? But I do want to pick up something from Nomad this year. So that brings us to the palette that I did purchase. And this might make me a complete hypocrite when I was talking about the Nomad palette, but we did get a sneak peek of the, what was it, like the display for the new Natasha Denona palette, and then like 2 days ago, the palette was leaked, and so I did see what it was going to be, and I mean, it is like my dream come true. But then yesterday there was a text message sent out by the Natasha Denona website that said that the palette was up for pre-order. So I did purchase this yesterday on the Natasha Denona website. It'll be shipping out, I think in 2 days from when I'm posting this video. And so this is it's either Yucca or Yucca palette. I know Yucca is the plant, but Yucca is like the Yucatan Peninsula. And so this is kind of a tropic palette. It has like the tropic vibes. All the videos that she's releasing, they're kind of like in a tropical background. So I'm not sure if it's Yucca or Yucca, but this is the new midi palette from Natasha Denona. It has browns and oranges and yellows and greens and some sparkly shades in there. And this is exactly what I have been wanting. When I kept saying that I wish that she would reimagine the like big gold palette and come out with a midi-sized that bridged the gap between the large gold and the mini gold, I wish that she had come out with something in the middle, and I think this is the answer. And it's beautiful. I mean, the second the text message came through that it was available for pre-order, I was like, yes. And I ordered it. So overall, I am looking forward to getting this in the mail in the next couple days. Hopefully the shipping isn't too long. If you guys would like to see a video about this or some eye looks, let me know down below, and I'll see if I can film either some shorts or a couple little videos of me using it and getting ready with it in the mornings. But this palette is gorgeous, and I'm so excited to be bringing this into my collection. So that is everything that kind of caught my attention on Trend Mood One's Instagram for new makeup releases for May. Are you guys thinking about picking any of these up? Have you picked up either the Nomad palette or the Cleona palette or the Natasha Denona palette? Let me know down below. Make sure to do all the things, like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really does help the channel, and I enjoy having conversations with you guys down in the comment section. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video and engage with me here on social media. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.